If you've spoken to me at any length over the past year, you know that I started law school in August. It is appropriate that you applauded because I was going to hold for applause anyways. And I just finished up my last week of classes. You applauded too soon because finals start on Tuesday. And I'm thinking about being a real Grinch about it, if you know what I mean. And the reason I bring it up is because she could have been laughing at me, she could have just been laughing at herself back there. Anytime you hear like a, that's Meredith. I bring that up because the reason that I'm bringing up law school, besides just the fact that I'm seeking your validation at every turn, is because I had a professor, and let's just go ahead and give that professor a round of applause, shall we? Give it up for Joshy B. He gave us an assignment that if we did something for extra credit, like a creativity kind of assignment, that he would give us 5 raw score points, right? Yes. Right? Great, good job, love it. Usually it's me in law school trying to shush everyone like the mom that I am, because the professor has started talking like, shh. So I appreciate someone sharing the burden. Anyway, so he gave us this assignment and we get 5 raw score points. And I don't know if you know about 5 raw score points. I'm not sure I understand the concept, but I think it's pretty good, so we're just gonna go all in and we're gonna talk about civil procedure tonight. That's good, because I was gonna be like, we're gonna talk about civil procedure tonight. I mean, I'm sure the audience participation is all part of those 5 raw score points, right? Anyway, so civil procedure, where do I begin? Civil procedure is kind of like, you know when you're playing a board game and, Grinch got decapitated. It's just, I have a big head, it's not gonna stay up. It's fine, you got the image, we're good. Anyway, so civil procedure, you know like when you're playing a board game and it's getting really intense and you know, you're like strategizing, you're winning points, you're calling your husband names. Civil procedure is kind of like the beginning when they're reading the rules. And you're supposed to laugh there because the rule part is really boring, right? And that's the joke. And I don't know about you, but when people are reading the rules, that's just none of my business. Like, I'll learn as I go. Like, I will make those rules a part of who I am as a person, but I'm not willing to sit and listen to someone tell me about them. Let alone someone sit and tell me about them for an entire fucking semester. This might be a good time to say that civil procedure is usually a 2-semester course. And through the Jesuit gods at SLU Law, they've condensed it into 1 semester, which is hell, but also like, if I have to go to hell, I'd rather it be 1 semester and not 2. But anyway, so there's this case I wanted to talk to you about tonight, and it's a case that usually civil procedure professors use to kind of like haze first-year law students, because that's a thing, they haze the hell out of us. And so they usually give this case like the first day of Civ Pro, and which by the way, that's what all the cool kids say, Civ Pro, so now you're in the know. If you say civil procedure though, you're still fine. I'll judge you. But anyway, so on the first day of Civ Pro, they usually give out this case, and it's a monster because it's like 3 cases in one, and it's really just a lot. And on your first day, you're like, what the fuck is happening? It's this little case called Pennoyer versus Neff. We're already up to a strong point because what a great name. So many cases are like Tyler versus Smith, or like somebody versus AT&T, just like the most boring ass names you could ever think of. Like that's a shot at AT&T. They suck. So you can tell them I said that. But anyway, so Pennoyer versus Neff, we're off to a great start, right? So here's the thing: Pennoyer and Neff, not the original main guys. Like one of them is Neff. And to get the full scope of this story, we're gonna have to go back to 1850, I think, 3. I didn't pay that close attention. And as we'll soon find out, it almost doesn't matter. So back in 1853, this guy named Neff, that's his last name. I don't remember his first name because, like I said, it doesn't matter. If the Supreme Court could assign like prison numbers to cases, they would. They don't care about your name. Anyway, so Neff, he decides he's gonna make a name for himself out west, and he decides to claim land under this thing called the Oregon Land Donation Act. Oregon, not Oregon. Oregon Land Donation Act. And so apparently that was a thing. You could just claim land and like say, hey government, this is mine, I'm cultivating it and it's mine, here's the proof. And that was just fine. Probably wasn't our land to give, but all's fair under capitalism. And as you will also find anytime you take any law course, So he went to Oregon, trying to make a better life for himself. But as you can imagine, in the 1850s, the government is pretty slow to get things done. As I think none of their systems have improved since the 1850s. Yeah, I'm telling you. I don't think any of their systems have improved since the 1850s. I think FEMA is evidence of that. And that's a joke because FEMA's a terribly mismanaged, misrun organization. Great work they do. Like, it's a great purpose, don't get me wrong. I don't want to get any FEMA hate, but my God, they just pushed everything together and were like, here you go. And that's the basic vibe we're going with, right? So this guy, Neff, is like, I need the help of a lawyer. And I'm gonna go see this lawyer because lawyers are upstanding, wonderful, honest practitioners of the law. So yeah, you see where this is going. And believe it or not, that's not even what matters, okay? So he goes to see this guy named Mitchell. Two problems. His name's not Mitchell and he's not a lawyer. And like I said, that almost doesn't even matter. That's just fodder for the story, okay? It's fluff. It doesn't matter because the law, I don't know. And so he goes to see this guy, and Neff pays Mitchell, and I will refer to him as Mitchell. We don't dead name here. And it's like, I mean, that's a joke. Anyways, the name Pennoyer got a bigger laugh than that. Anyways, so he goes to see this guy. And he pays him like $6 because again, it's the 1850s. He's his client for like a year or two, and he says, hey government, this guy's done all the things, give him his land. I guess that was what he was qualified to do as a non-lawyer lawyer. And then they part ways, and then a couple of years later, because he still doesn't have the goddamn deed to the land, spoiler alert, it takes 10 fucking years for him to get that sumbitch. And Mitchell, this guy, is just laying in wait for the deed to transfer to Neff, right? By this point, Neff has moved to California from Oregon. That is important. Nothing else is. Just the fact that he went from Oregon to California. And when Neff sued him, he was in California, not Oregon. Different states, very important. And so he's like, you know what, I'm gonna sue this guy so I can take his land. So obviously he really wasn't after like money that he owed him. He was just a scoundrel, which as you will find is also a common theme in many lawsuits. Again, America, law, capitalism, you get it. You're right there. You guys could be lawyers tomorrow at this rate. So, where was I? God, this story's hard to keep track of. There's a lot that happens. So, so Mitchell sues Neff. Neff has no idea because the way that he says, hey, guess what, I've sued you, he posts about it in a publication that has the readership of like the New Yorker. And notice I said readership and not like subscribership because everyone in the world could subscribe to the New Yorker and then no one would read it. We just order it to get the free tote bag so we look better than all of you. I gotta do it somehow. With this white trash complexion, I gotta let you know somehow. And so he posts public notice of service in this publication. Oh, by the way, Neff is illiterate, so he's not going to be able to read it anyways. Again, not a vital detail to the story, it's just fluff. That's going to keep happening, okay? And so, obviously, Neff doesn't see it because he's in California. I'm assuming he left Oregon because there weren't enough Birkenstocks and granola. And so he's there living his best life. There's a default judgment against him and he is none the wiser. I do think that being not able to read might be a little bit more of a peaceful life. But that is not my burden to bear because I'm in law school and that's literally all I do is read. So, judgment happens, and instead of Mitchell, the son of a bitch, instead of going to like knock on Neff's door in California and be like, hey, you son of a bitch, the court says you owe me money, he doesn't do that because, right, if you remember, he's a little shady motherfucker, and if he knocks on Neff's door, he's gonna be like, hey, wait a minute, I don't owe you shit, what are you doing? And so instead of doing that, he waits for the land to be up at police auction, sheriff auction, whatever. Sounds a little bit classier when you say sheriff. Waits for the land to be up at sheriff's auction. And what does this motherfucker do? He buys the land. He buys the land that he's like trying to get the money from. And then does he keep it? No, he sells it to this guy named Pennoyer. Did you forget about Pennoyer? I almost did too, but here he is. Also part of the story. And so that's it. The lawsuits happen. Neff is living his best life surfing and like catching the waves in California, and Pennoyer lives on his land for 8 years. Builds a house, does like, I don't know, logging. I don't know what you do out west. I couldn't tell you what you do out west now, let alone in the 1850s. And I think we're in the 1840s now, but does it really matter? Anything before 1970 is just all the same. That's great. And so, but then 8 years later, who should come back to Oregon? That's right, Neff. He comes back because like he's like, oh shit, I forgot I had land there. And he gets to his land and he's like, Right? You're like, I don't remember any of this happening a decade ago, but here it is. And so he's like, dude, you're trespassing, but like, it looks nice. And he's like, I'm not trespassing. I bought the land from that guy. He's like, that guy, that's my lord. He's like, that's my realtor. And it's like, you know, the Spider-Man meme. But that George Santos motherfucker's just pointing at himself. He's like, it's me, I'm all of them. Surprise. Rest in peace to George Santos' time in office. But like, I don't know, good for him, right? Like, Jupiter McQueen. I'm sorry, I just got so distracted thinking about George Santos. So anyways, he goes, Pennoyer gets sued by Neff because he's like, give me back my land, this is super fucking shady, and like, he's right? Like, that's super fucking shady. And the court eventually says, like, do you think it would come down to the fact that Mitchell was not a real lawyer, that Mitchell was not who he said he was? Do you think it comes down to the fact that he was like, I don't know, just like a super shady guy in general? No, it came down to the fact, remember what I said before, the fact that Neff was in California and not in Oregon, and you can't serve somebody when they live in another jurisdiction. You just can't do it unless, I mean, if they're, let's not get into a personal jurisdiction analysis because we don't have that kind of time, and honestly, I didn't study that before this, so I'm probably gonna be wrong, but that exam is not until Friday. That exam is not until Friday, and I'm on a time clock, all right? It's unfair to the other comedians for me to just, I don't know, dazzle you with my fucking personal civil procedure knowledge. My God, I don't want to be responsible for you all dying of boredom. Anyways, so the moral of the story is all of that crazy shit that happened gets boiled. You know what the only rules we have left from Pennoyer versus Neff are? That you can serve someone if they are in your state. It's called tag jurisdiction, which I think is kind of like really cute. Like, it's kind of pretty cute. Like, it's like schoolyard rules. Like, it's like, oh, tag, you're it. And it's like, as soon as somebody crosses the border into your state, you can sue them. Like, granted, there are other things you have to consider, but by and large, it's like fine. And it's like one of the pillars of the judicial system is like state sovereignty. And it's all from this one case where this guy was like fucking George Santos. It's not fucking George Santos. Though I'm sure he gets away with it, but yeah. Anyways, that's Civil Procedure 101. Yeah, I know. She was good.
Just give me the mic. Here's the thing, the one time she doesn't mention being Mormon, I wear what looks like a Mormon choir girl outfit after her. Okay. Yeah.